Explosions rocked the ancient Terran battleship as it careened through the void of space. Admiral Lena Orion gripped the command console, her knuckles white, as her crew scrambled to regain control. The enemy fleet, a swarm of sleek alien craft, encircled them, pummeling their aging defenses. Shields at 30% and falling, the tactical officer shouted, "We can't take much more of this." Lena's jaw tightened. After centuries of peace, the long-dormant war machines of Earth had been reawakened. The galaxy was not prepared for humanity's return to the stars. "Launch all remaining fighters," Lena ordered. "We need to buy time for the jump drive to charge." The fighter pilots rocketed into the fray, their weapons blazing. But the alien ships were too numerous, too agile. One by one, the Terran fighters were swatted from the sky. Lena watched helplessly as the last of her fighters was obliterated in a brilliant flash. "Jump drive at 75% and climbing," the navigator reported. "But we're taking heavy damage. I don't know if we'll make it." The alien commander's voice crackled over the comm. "Surrender, Terrans, and we may spare your lives. Your ancient technologies are no match for our superior might." Lena's eyes narrowed. "We will never surrender. Humanity will never bow to your kind again." The navigator's eyes widened. "Jump drive at 90%. We're almost there." Lena steeled herself, knowing what must be done. "Divert all remaining power to the shields. We're going to make a stand." The crew looked at her, a mixture of fear and determination on their faces. They knew the odds were against them, but they would fight to the last. The alien ships converged, their weapons blazing. Lena braced herself as the barrage slammed into the battered Terran vessel. The shields flickered and groaned, but held firm. "Jump drive at 100%. The navigator shouted. "Coordinates locked in." Lena took a deep breath. "Engage the jump drive. Get us out of here." The ship lurched forward, tearing a rift in the fabric of spacetime. Just as the alien ships were about to deliver the final blow, the Terran vessel vanished into the unknown. Lena slumped back in her chair, her heart pounding. They had survived for now, but she knew the true battle was only just beginning. The Terran battleship emerged from the jump, its hull scared and smoking. Lena surveyed the unfamiliar star system, searching for a safe haven. "Scan for any habitable planets or space stations," she ordered. "We need to make repairs and regroup." The navigator's fingers danced across the console. "There's a small colony on the third planet. Minimal defenses, but it may provide the supplies we need." Lena nodded. "Set a course. Full burn." As the ship hurtled toward the distant planet, Lena summoned her senior officers to the bridge. "We're in uncharted territory, and our enemy is closing in," she said, her voice grave. "We'd barely escaped with our lives, and our ship is barely holding together. We need to find a way to turn the tide of this war." The chief engineer, a grizzled veteran named Harlan, spoke up. "The jump drive is fried. We'll need to completely overhaul the systems if we want to make another jump. And our weapons are severely compromised." Lena's brow furrowed. "What about the colony? Can they provide the resources we need?" Harlan shook his head. "It's a small settlement, barely equipped to handle their own defenses, let alone ours. We'll be lucky if they can spare a few spare parts and some basic supplies." The tactical officer, a young lieutenant named Kara, stepped forward. "Admiral, we need to consider the possibility that this colony won't be able to help us at all. We may have to make a stand here." Lena's eyes narrowed. "Against the full might of the alien fleet. That's suicide." Kara met her gaze unflinchingly. "We have no choice. If we can't repair the jump drive, we're stranded. And if we can't strengthen our defenses, we'll be overrun. We have to fight." Lena felt a chill run down her spine. She knew Kara was right, but the thought of committing her battered crew to a hopeless battle filled her with dread. "Then we'd better make every shot count," she said, her voice hardening. Harlan, do what you can to get the ship back into fighting shape. Kara, start planning our defenses. We'll make our stand here. As the officers hurried to carry out their orders, Lena gazed out the view screen, her resolve hardening. The galaxy had not seen the last of the Terran war machines. The Terran battleship touched down on the surface of the small colony world, its massive engines stirring up clouds of dust. Lena and her senior officers disembarked, greeted by the nervous but determined colony leader, a woman named Esther. Admiral Orion, we're honored by your presence, but I must be honest. We're not equipped to handle a battleship of your size, Esther said, her brow furrowed with concern. Lena nodded grimly. I understand your apprehension, but we have no choice. Our ship is damaged, and the enemy is closing in. We need your help to make repairs and fortify your defenses. Esther's eyes widened. The enemy? You mean the alien fleet that's been harassing our outer settlements? The very same, Lena replied. They're relentless, and they won't stop until they've wiped us out. We have to be ready. Esther's expression hardened. Then you can count on our full cooperation. Our people may not be soldiers, but will fight to defend our home. Lena felt a surge of respect for the colony leader. Gather your finest engineers and technicians. We'll need to work around the clock to get my ship back in working order. As the crew set to work, Lena and her officers began planning their defense strategy. Kara outlined a series of fortified positions and weapon emplacements, while Harlan and his team devised a makeshift repair plan. It's not going to be pretty, but we should be able to get the shields and weapons back online, Harlan reported. The jump drive is another story. That's going to take some serious work. Lena nodded, her mind racing. We'll have to hold out long enough for the repairs to be completed. This colony is our best chance at survival. Kara's expression was grim. The alien fleet will be here soon. We'll need to mobilize every able-bodied colonist to help with the defenses. Lena turned to Esther. Are your people ready to fight? Esther's eyes narrowed. They'll have to be. Our very existence is at stake. As the colonists scrambled to fortify their positions, Lena knew that the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. They had to win this battle, no matter the cost. The roar of the alien fleet's engines shook the ground as the massive ships emerged from the darkness of space. Lena watched grimly from the battleship's bridge, her crew bracing for the coming onslaught. Enemy fleet is closing fast, Kara reported, her fingers flying across the console. They're launching fighters and assault craft. Lena's jaw tightened. All batteries, stand ready. Divert all available power to the shields. The colonists manned the defensive emplacements, their faces set with determination. Esther stood beside Lena, her eyes narrowed. This is it, she said, her voice tense. Our last stand. Lena nodded. We'll give them a fight they'll never forget. The alien ships opened fire, raining down a barrage of energy beams and missiles. The colony's shields flared to life, deflecting the initial assault. But Lena knew they couldn't hold out forever. Concentrate fire on their command ship, she ordered. If we can take that out, the rest of the fleet may falter. The Terran batteries unleashed a withering hail of fire, their ancient weapons straining against the relentless alien onslaught. Explosions rocked the enemy formation, but the alien ships continued to press forward. Shields at 60% and falling, Kara reported. We won't be able to hold them off much longer. Lena's eyes narrowed. All remaining fighters, launch and engage the enemy. Buy us some time. The Terran fighters streaked into the fray, their weapons blazing. But the alien ships were too numerous, too agile. One by one, the fighters were swatted from the sky. Esther's face was etched with concern. Admiral, our defenses are crumbling. We need to evacuate the colony. Lena's expression hardened. We can't abandon this world, Esther. Not after everything we've sacrificed. The colony's shields flickered and died, and the alien ships unleashed a devastating barrage. Lena braced herself as the enemy fire rained down upon them. Shields at 20% and failing. Kara shouted, "We're not going to make it." Lena's grip tightened on the command console. "Then we'll go down fighting. Divert all remaining power to the weapons. Aim for their command ship." The Terran batteries unleashed a final, desperate salvo, their ancient guns roaring to life. The alien command ship shuddered under the barrage, its shields collapsing. Lena's eyes widened as the enemy vessel began to break apart, its massive bulk tumbling through the sky. "We did it," she whispered, a glimmer of hope in her voice. But the victory was short-lived as the rest of the alien fleet surged forward, their weapons blazing. Lena and her crew steeled themselves for the final onslaught, knowing that their stand had only just begun. The Terran battleship rocked under the relentless alien assault, its shields flickering and failing. Lena gripped the command console, her face etched with determination. "All remaining power to the engines," she ordered. "We need to pull back and regroup." The battered ship lurched forward, its thrusters straining to propel it away from the collapsing colony. Lena watched helplessly as the alien ships continued their bombardment, the once vibrant settlement reduced to smoldering ruins. "Admiral, we've lost contact with the colony," Kara reported, her voice tinged with grief. "Esther and her people. They didn't make it." Lena's jaw tightened. "Then we'll make the enemy pay for their sacrifice. Set a course for the nearest uninhabited system. We need to find a place to make repairs and regroup." As the Terran ship fled the devastation, Lena couldn't help but feel a sense of failure. She had sworn to protect the innocent, and she had failed. But she knew that the true battle was only just beginning. Once they had reached the safety of the uninhabited system, Lena summoned her senior officers to the bridge. "We've lost the colony, but we can't afford to dwell on that now," she said, her voice grave. "Our ship is in bad shape, and our enemy is still out there, hunting us down. We need to find a way to turn the tide of this war." Harlan stepped forward, his expression grim. "The good news is that the jump drive is operational again, but it's running on a shoestring. We can make one, maybe 2 more jumps before it fails completely." Kara's brow furrowed. "And our weapon systems?" "Barely holding together," Harlan replied. "We'll need to scavenge parts and materials if we want to have any chance of making significant repairs." Lena nodded, her mind racing. "Then that's what we'll do. Kara, start scouting the nearby systems for any suitable resources or potential allies. Harlan, work with your team to prioritize the most critical repairs." The officers hurried to carry out their orders, but Lena could see the uncertainty in their eyes. They had faced impossible odds before, but this time, the stakes were higher than ever. As Lena gazed out at the stars, she couldn't help but wonder if they were truly prepared for what lay ahead. The galaxy had awakened an ancient power, and the Terran war machines were once again caught in the crossfire. The Terran battleship emerged from the jump, its engines sputtering and its hull battered. Lena scanned the unfamiliar system, searching for any sign of a safe haven. "Kara, what's the status of the nearest planets?" she asked, her voice tense. The young lieutenant's fingers danced across the console. "I'm detecting a few promising candidates, but they're all heavily contested. We'd be walking into a war zone." Lena's brow furrowed. "We don't have much choice. We need to find a place to make repairs and resupply, or we won't make it to the next jump." Kara's expression was grave. "Understood, Admiral. I'll plot a course to the nearest system." As the battleship limped toward its destination, Lena couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. The galaxy had been a peaceful place for centuries, but now the ancient Terran war machines had been unleashed, and the consequences were dire. When they arrived at the contested system, Lena and her officers prepared for the worst. The planet below was a blasted, war-torn landscape, its skies choked with the contrails of battling spacecraft. "This is madness," Esther murmured, her face etched with horror. How could this have happened? Lena's expression hardened, the same way it always does, through fear, greed, and the relentless pursuit of power. We're just caught in the crossfire. Kura's voice crackled over the comm. Admiral, we're detecting multiple enemy signatures closing in on our position. They must have spotted us on their sensors. Lena's jaw tightened. Prepare for battle. We'll have to fight our way through if we want to make planetfall. The Terran battleship surged forward, its ancient weapons blazing. The enemy ships, a mix of alien and local designs, swarmed around them, their firepower pounding the battered shields. Shields at 50% and falling. Kara shouted, "We won't be able to hold out much longer." Lena's eyes narrowed. "Harlan, can you get the jump drive back online?" The engineer's voice was strained. "Barely. We'll have one shot at making the jump, but it's going to be close." Lena's grip tightened on the command console. "Then make it count. Kara, keep those bastards off our tail." The Terran batteries unleashed a withering barrage, buying precious seconds for the jump drive to charge. But the enemy ships were relentless, their firepower slowly whittling away the battleship's defenses. "Jump drive at 90% and climbing," Harlan reported. "We're almost there." Lena braced herself, knowing that this was their last chance. "Engage the jump drive. Get us out of here." The ship lurched forward, tearing a rift in the fabric of spacetime. As the Terran vessel vanished into the unknown, Lena could only hope that they had bought enough time to regroup and prepare for the next stage of the battle. The Terran battleship emerged from the jump, its hull scared and smoking. Lena surveyed the unfamiliar system, searching for a safe haven. "Kara, scan for any habitable planets or space stations," she ordered, her voice terse. The lieutenant's fingers danced across the console. "I'm detecting a small outpost on the third planet, Admiral. It appears to be a neutral trading hub, not affiliated with any major powers." Lena nodded. "Set a course. Full burn." As the battered ship approached the outpost, Lena summoned her senior officers to the bridge. "We're running out of options," she said, her expression grave. "Our jump drive is on its last legs, and our weapon systems are barely holding together. We need to find a way to resupply and make critical repairs before the enemy catches up to us." Harlan spoke up, his brow furrowed. "The outpost might be our best chance, but it's going to be risky. We'll need to negotiate for the supplies and materials we need, and that means dealing with some unsavory characters." Kara's eyes narrowed. "And what about the enemy? They'll be expecting us to turn up here, or somewhere like it. We'll be sitting ducks." Lena's jaw tightened. "I'm aware of the risks, but we don't have a choice. We have to take the chance." As the Terran ship docked at the outpost, Lena and her officers disembarked, their eyes scanning the bustling marketplace for potential allies or threats. "Keep a low profile," Lena warned. "We don't want to draw any unwanted attention." The team split up, each with a specific task to accomplish. Harlan and his engineers scoured the outpost for the parts and equipment they needed, while Kara and her security team kept a vigilant watch for any signs of trouble. Lena, meanwhile, made her way to the outpost's central command center, where she met with the station's enigmatic leader, a grizzled trader named Jax. "Admiral Orion," Jax said, his voice a low rumble. "I've been expecting you. Word of your exploits has been spreading through the galaxy." Lena's eyes narrowed. "Then you know what's at stake. Can you help us?" Jax leaned back in his chair, stroking his chin thoughtfully. "It's a risky proposition, but I might be able to arrange something. For the right price, of course." Lena suppressed a sigh. "Name your terms." Jax's lips curled into a wry smile. "Oh, I think we can come to an mutually beneficial arrangement. But first, I have a proposition of my own." Lena steeled herself, knowing that she was about to enter a dangerous game of negotiation and subterfuge. The fate of her crew and the future of the galaxy hung in the balance. Lena listened intently as Jax outlined his proposal, her brow furrowed with concentration. The outpost leader's offer was risky, but it might be their only chance to turn the tide of the war. So, what do you say, Admiral? Jax asked, his piercing gaze locked on Lena. Are you willing to take the gamble? Lena's jaw tightened. I don't have much choice, do I? My crew and my ship are barely holding together as it is. Jax's lips curled into a satisfied smile. Excellent. I'll make the necessary arrangements. You and your people should be ready to move out within the next 24 hours. Lena nodded, her mind racing. Understood. We'll be ready. As she returned to the Terran battleship, Lena summoned her senior officers to the bridge. The faces of her crew were etched with exhaustion and uncertainty, but Lena knew that they were her most trusted allies. We've struck a deal with the outpost leader, she began, her voice grave. It's a risky proposition, but it may be our only chance to turn the tide of this war. Kara's brow furrowed. What kind of deal? Lena took a deep breath. Jax has agreed to provide us with the supplies and materials we need to make critical repairs to the ship. In exchange, we'll be tasked with a delicate mission. Harlan's eyes narrowed. What kind of mission? We're going to infiltrate the enemy's command ship, Lena said, her voice low, and plant a series of explosives throughout the vessel. The officers exchanged stunned looks, the gravity of the situation sinking in. It's a suicide mission, Kara breathed. We'll never make it out alive. Lena's gaze hardened. I know the risks, Lieutenant. But this may be our only chance to cripple the enemy's leadership and buy us the time we need to regroup and launch a counteroffensive. Harlan's expression was grim. And if we fail? Then we'll all be dead, Lena replied, her voice firm. But I'd rather go down fighting than surrender to the enemy. The officers fell silent, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and determination. When do we leave? Kara asked, her voice steady. 24 hours, Lena replied. We need to be ready to move out at a moment's notice. As the officers hurried to prepare for the mission, Lena couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. The fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders, and she knew that there was no turning back. But as she gazed out at the stars, Lena felt a glimmer of hope. The ancient Terran war machines had been reawakened, and they would not go down without a fight.